on this computer. Okay, so I think we're recording.
All right, cool. We're recording. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in to the channel. This is the week 6 of the Make Guitar podcast, and today we're going to talk about tone and really what makes a difference in your tone versus what really doesn't, or doesn't make such a significant difference in your tone that that you are going to start drilling holes in your guitar. I don't know. How's that sound?
Does drilling holes in your guitar affect the tone?
If they're tone holes, um, no, I don't think drilling holes in your guitar makes a difference. But I haven't seen a scientific study of what happens when you drill holes in your guitar. It might make you want to play the guitar more because it's lighter in weight, or maybe it'll make you not want to play your guitar as much because your buttons on your shirt get caught in the holes. I don't know. It's something we'll have to make a video on that.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, I think that, this is actually, I think it's a problem for me, is I play the guitar unplugged a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because, I'm at home and there's other people at home. So I just play the electric guitar, but it's not plugged in. And I feel like I'm really good at, not really good, but I'm better getting the sound out of the guitar not plugged in than I am getting the sound out of it plugged in, because I'm not playing plugged in as much, right?
Right. I've noticed that too. I play guitar unplugged quite often, and when I actually do plug in, I realize it's a completely different activity.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. Well, and then the thing is, the guitar acoustically, like the electric guitar, the body material and the neck and the holes in the guitar maybe have a larger effect on the sound when it's not plugged in. But I feel as soon as you plug it in, the pickups and the amplifier dominate.
Right. Yeah.
Like it totally changes the game and the sound. So like the body wood, like your guitar could just be plywood or mahogany or any wood, and then the tone of the guitar doesn't matter as much,
Right.
because the pickup is just like owning the sound. It's like all the sound is going through there. One of the things that I think that I've thought of a lot, that I don't know why people don't address this. So a couple of people have, your pickup is actually just hanging by a little plastic frame off of two skinny little screws with a couple springs on it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in the case of a humbucker where the pickup is actually pretty large and it has a lot of weight, right? And it's just like hanging on that plastic frame. I kind of wonder, like, I feel like maybe you might get a tone, like maybe a tonal difference if the pickup was bolted to the body. I mean, like Van Halen kind of made that claim, and he like said he got better sustain if the
Mm-hmm.
pickup was like just bolted directly to the body,
That's an interesting subject. I mean, it would be cool to do a comparison. I don't really have anything that. Actually, I probably have some things that I can, I could try mounting the pickups directly to the body of a guitar. We could do a demo of that.
Yeah. But I think maybe that's an area to experiment in more so than like changing the whole wood of the guitar. I
Right.
mean, maybe there is something like to sustain when it comes to like the bridge arrangement and the hardware.
Mhm.
I feel like you're probably maybe getting more, like out of all those things, you're probably getting more of a difference by the string choice. Like, so the strings and the pickup and the amplifier are gonna dominate. Like those, I put those at the top 3 on the list of like of tone.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. As I mentioned, the music is win guy. He did a test where he was using the Billy Gibbons 7-gauge strings for the first time, and he said they don't really change the tone of the guitar, but they do change the timbre. And I think that that's probably the reason that Billy Gibbons uses like an EQ pedal, um, is to beef up uh, that those frequencies on his guitar sound. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Rick Beto did a video where they did like they kind of played the same riff on the same guitar, but with different string gauges. And then they did kind of a like a audio analysis of it. And I think if I remember correctly, they kind of came to the conclusion that lighter gauge strings actually had a better bass tone.
yeah, that's surprising.
Yeah, because that goes against like what is presented as standard wisdom,
Mhm.
like Stevie Ray Vaughan used like 13s or like some ridiculously heavy gauge of string, and he
Well,
got great tone.
he tuned way down.
Oh, did he?
His guitar was tuned down like two steps or something.
Oh, okay. Huh.
So that would have had a big effect on his tone and his sound. Um, and as well, the length of the string, like he used strat, so you have a longer scale, and then the strings travel through the body down to that little claw, or through into that block. So that's a longer string, as opposed to something like a Les Paul.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And the like, well, if in a standard tuning, if you have a longer string, you have to tune it up tighter. Like it has to have
Mm-hmm.
more tension on it to get the same pitch.
Right.
There's like a really interesting bridge. I think it's called Evertune,
Mm,
and it
yes.
has like a bunch of it has this like mechanical system of springs in it. It's not a tremolo though, and apparently like it just stays in tune. So once you get it in tune, like you can yank on the strings, the neck can change, like anything can change. And there's something about like the gauge of the string, the length of the string, and the tension, right, that creates the tuning, right? So those are the three parameters like in physics that make a string ring at a particular pitch. And so this guy worked out a bridge that had like a little internal spring, so it always balances the tension to be at a certain setting, right? So
Right. And you
yeah,
can calibrate it depending on like if you want to be able to do bends, right? You can calibrate it for that.
yeah,
Daryl
you're
Braun
right.
did a demo of it last week.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's I remember that. Yeah, so you got to set that because if you bend the string, it still won't bend because of the mechanics, right? I've never tried that. It seems kind of expensive, and you'd have to modify your guitar pretty heavily to install it.
Yeah.
But it was pretty interesting. I don't know that it would do me any good. Like it wouldn't. I don't think it would make me a better player. Having the guitar in tune, all the time. But
I'm sure it's great for certain people. Like maybe it's great if you're in the studio and just, like you can't afford for your guitar to go out of tune throughout, like through the duration of the song. Like it's for keeps. You're playing for keeps.
yeah, maybe, yeah, and I think there's a lot of people like maybe they have guitars that go out of tune or they bend strings pretty wildly or
Hmm.
whatever happens, right? They kind of tend to go out of tune. Like maybe it would help those people.
Or if you're playing outside or in a drafty environment, um, at the at my gigs the last couple of weeks, the guitarists were complaining about their guitars going out of tune after every song, or even like between when they tune up and when we were ready to start playing. It's like it's constant fighting the.
Oh, was it the
the
temperature change?
I would imagine so, temperature or humidity or something like that.
Huh. Yeah, so maybe it'd be good for that. You know, I think I have to advance my guitar playing a few levels before before I move up to the Evertune. Um,
Well, yeah, you wouldn't probably care, like, unless you're playing gigs with it or recording with it. It wouldn't really be worth the expense.
yeah. Yeah, I think like really probably for the everyday people, like strings, I'm going to say, are the best bang for your buck for tone,
Yeah.
right? Like choosing your strings, and there's a lot of strings to choose from. You can get different gauge strings, right?
Hmm.
Um, you know, I don't even think you need to like get a heavy gauge string. I think you can just get a light gauge string or a medium gauge string, and you're going to get good tone. But then there's different varieties. So you can get like the nickel strings, or you can get. I'm kind of a fan of these half flats.
Mm.
So they're kind of, sometimes they call them ground wound, so they're like smoother. And I like them for a couple reasons. So the low strings are a little bit heavier, like they have a little more mass, right? And they don't have a lot of like string noise, like when you or finger noise when you slide up and down the frets. But
Yeah.
they don't have a sparkle to them, like, so maybe they wouldn't be good for some music because they don't have like a super high end kind of sparkle. But I think that that actually benefits when you play with a distortion or a fuzz pedal.
Right. I
So
was
you
going to
don't
say,
get
as
a
soon
lot
as
of
you
you don't get a lot
amplify
of
them.
overtones, you know, it kind of limits the overtones. You get like a more pure tone going into the pedal, so the pedal adds the overtones, right?
Right. Yeah, I've noticed on bass, I pretty much play flats exclusively, and the uh, all of the high end that I lose from either using old strings and from being flat wound, I can get that back as soon as I turn on the amp. So it's yeah, it it's really not an issue. Um, when
Yeah.
like when you first put on a new set of nines or whatever, and you can get that snappy thing and get those pinch harmonics and everything really easily. I mean, it lasts about a day, and like people who change their strings every day, they probably notice the difference acoustically on their guitar more than they do through an amp. I think as soon as you plug it in to and your pickups uh, are doing a lot of that work.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think like, there's the difference between the acoustic and the electric sound. And as soon as you plug things in, like the pickup and the amp like just dominate the sound, you
Right.
know? And I think like the strings are pretty easy. Like if someone wants to experiment with their sounds, like in the tone, they're not going to get like a massive change. But for the small tonal differences, like you can probably get more in the ballpark than buying a whole new guitar. And
Hmm.
it's easier to change your strings than it is to change the pickup.
Right.
After that I might go for a pickup. The bummer with the pickups is they're expensive and it's a lot of work to change them. So and all the pickup marketing is is kind of, in some ways, it's meaningful but it's also meaningless, like woody, like low mid, like I don't know what people are talking about. Like I have to actually just hear the pickup to, you know what I mean? Like I'd have to buy it, put it in my guitar, hear what it sounded like before I really knew, you know?
Right. And there's only so many variables that go into a pickup, like what kind of magnets. Um, I mean, there's different pickup designs. So like, your Jazzmaster, which has a wider, flatter bobbin, that's going to have some impact on the tone or the sound of the pickup. But like, how many winds are on the pickup, the output of the pickup, that makes a difference.
Yeah, I think the output actually is kind of like, people want high output pickups, seem to be a thing. Like people like high numbers, they think it's better. I don't think that that's really the case. I mean, I think in the past, people wanted high output pickups because the stock pickups that we started with were kind of low output, and people didn't have a lot of guitar pedals and things like that to like boost their amp.
Hmm.
And the amps weren't really made to overdrive. They didn't have a lot of options in the old days. So, if you had a high output pickup, all of a sudden now you had a combo that made some good, like, had some good grit and distortion in it, right, when you hit the amp. But nowadays, like, you can just get everything with the turn of a knob, So,
Right.
so nowadays, I think like actually having like a medium output pickup is like better. You get less mush and like more clarity, and then you can just crank up the amp if you want more distortion, or you can plug into a pedal and get like more fuzz or whatever you want, or more boost,
Oh yeah, that's absolutely true. I think, if you have a loud pickup, like a high output pickup, and you want to get more clarity and get rid of some of that mud, you turn down the volume, you kind of get that mud back because, it's, I don't know, it's just the way volume pots kind of work. I don't know, maybe you can speak more to that um, than I can, but like, um,
I guess that's like actually another one. Speaking of the volume pot, like that's a thing. You get like you actually lose some of the high frequencies due to it's because um, a voltage divider.
mhm,
So if you have like a 250K to like 500K pot, like you'll lose more highs than if you have like a 1K pot. So like I think you could make your guitar a little brighter by just swapping the pot. And that's actually not a hard mod either, and it's cheap for
hmm,
parts. Like a pot
right,
is, like a new pot is like a few bucks, right? So, you know, better than buying a whole new guitar just to get that tone, right?
right,
You know.
yeah.
So voice of experience here, like I've bought a few guitars and none of them have like the tone. None of them has been the golden tone yet.
Oh, you're still on the tone quest.
Yeah, yeah, I'm still questing tone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're such fickle beasts. Sometimes I think I got it, and then I keep shopping on Reverb for another, you know, holy grail of of tone or whatever it is. I mean, frankly, I think the reason I keep looking at Reverb is because guitars are cool. They're just fetish objects, and
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I think they're cool. It's like little works of art, they're sculpted,
Mhm.
they're musical. So that's kind of it's like it's like having a piece of art that is also a paintbrush, like also a
Right, right.
tool of art.
So, what have you been looking at on Reverb lately?
You know what? I'm gonna look that up because you mentioned it. There was a couple things I saw, and I'm trying to figure out what they were again. Um, what did I see? Um, yeah, I don't know. Actually, I guess I haven't really been looking on Reverb.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know that I saw anything good this week. So yeah. I don't know. I guess I haven't been there. I've been like just listening to music and trying to make some music. And then
Oh, that's good. I mean,
I've been building a pedal too. Like I got this. I've been working on a trem shifter, so I got the box here with that kind
very
of. Yeah,
nice.
there we go. Right. I kind of messed up a little bit. So these two marks are for the foot switches. They're going to go on the sides, but they're a little too far to the outside. I got to bring them in a little bit. And then the logo right here is a little too close to the edge, but I think that's acceptable. It actually went right up to the edge. And then the
Hmm.
two switches up here are a little too high. I got to move them down a little bit. So, but I think this is actually like, it's not like fail, I think I can
Right.
like finagle this box and make it work, so I got that.
Yeah, they're kind of alternative stylistic choices, you could call them.
And
Oh,
then
looks
I got
good.
the circuit board all assembled.
Nice and tidy.
Yeah, and then I'm going to use some of these. I have this LED switch. So like it's like one of those, 3-pull double throw switches, and it's got like a little LED ring. It's got this thing that fits over the top, you know, right? That was part of the reason the switches came out in the wrong spot. This thing adds like a lot to the width here. So I have to actually move this inboard a little bit to leave enough room for that, you know. And then it has like a little ring on the top here, so the LED shines through this. I used these before, and they kind of work pretty good. So I have a few more left over. I got like I bought like 5 or 10 from China, and they were pretty cheap. They were like 250 each or something, or $3. And so I'm gonna try and use those up.
That's good. And do you think that it'll handle the blinking of the tremolo speed pretty well?
Yeah, yeah, I did a couple of tests. I used it before on another pedal. I don't know if I have it within reach here, but I used it on another pedal. I used it on a few pedals actually, and they work pretty good. You can just use a you have to put a resistor on them, so they don't have like a resistor already in that little circuit board. There's like a tiny little circuit board in here. Let me see if I can unassemble this right. Like if you take the little ring off here, it's got a little clear plastic thing, and then there's like a little circuit board there, and it has some tiny little LEDs soldered to the top of it, but there's no resistor on there, so you need to include a resistor when you wire it up. So I kind of did some experiments, and you can just use like a standard resistor, like 1K or something, or 5K, 4.5, 4.7K.
That's very slick. I think it's going to be it's going to add a new kind of polish to that pedal.
Yeah,
I think you pointed
it'll be
out.
okay.
Yeah, I think you had pointed out in the past, like the LEDs on the original version of that pedal is kind of goofy. Like the LEDs are just sort of randomly placed on the face of the pedal.
Yeah, well, the original one, it was kind of a little confusing to me because it's got 3 LEDs, and one of them is like on or off whether you're bypassed, and then the other two, like they flash at the rate for the tremolo and the filter. So mine's going to be a little goofy because it'll have a regular LED for the tremolo speed, and then the filter speed is going to be on the switch, so you can turn it off and on, right? Which I don't know if that's going to help any. Like, I think mine is not perfect either. But yeah, I'm going to do that. And I was thinking too, I might get some colored knobs. So I might do like the 2 knobs for the tremolo in one color, and then the 2 knobs for the filter like in another color, to kind of help like visually, like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I understand that. That seems like a good idea. I think that like designing any kind of an interface is an iterative process. You need to have something to start with, a prototype, and then you make improvements as you go. But most people just sort of adapt to something that they have. It's like if you get into your own car, you already know how to drive it. You know where the little thing to pop the gas cover open is. Like. Whereas somebody else couldn't just jump in your car and know where everything else, know where all the, the controls are.
Yeah, yeah, I think it'll be okay. We'll see. I mean, it won't really matter. I'm going to be the only one using it. So, though
That's
I have
true.
2 of these, maybe I'll try and sell one.
Right, right.
Right. So, because I'll have 2 when I'm done with this one. You got to build yours so we can compare them. How are you doing on yours, Kirk?
Well, I haven't ordered the parts yet. I haven't even ordered the parts for my guitar projects. They've been sitting in the cart for a week, so just want to make sure I've got everything in there, and then I can, complete the purchase. But
Yeah. Well, tell me, I might just give you the parts, and that way you'll make it. Because I think I have all the parts for this. You just need the parts here. Right. And I think I have like enough parts to build another one of these.
that'll be good for me to go through the exercise of converting all of the units so that I can, get the right parts.
Oh
Because
yeah,
that's the
yeah,
thing, like
yep.
they don't always put them in the parts manifest in the same units that they're sold under.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that keeps like beginners like at bay. I mean, actually, it affects me too. I've been doing this for years, and I still have problems like ordering parts. It's like, because there's a lot of factors. Like there's the unit. You got to get the right like unit,
Material.
right? Yeah, there's the
Hmm.
material. Some parts the material matters. Like a lot of times it doesn't. But then there's like for some parts there's like special characteristics, and you need like just the particular one. And so sometimes it's hard to make sure you're getting the right one. And then other times it also has to do with like the part number, like because sometimes the numbers will have like, they'll vary, or it'll have the number you want, but then it'll have a couple extra letters on the end, and in some cases that matters, sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
And then there's the footprint. So sometimes you'll get a part and the footprint will be weird. Like you
Right.
can buy, like I have a bunch of capacitors and I got them and they're like really giant. Like I couldn't tell, when I ordered them, I was like, oh, this is the right size. But then I get them and they're like 200 volts or something because I wasn't paying attention. And then they're like the size of the caps, like in your amplifier, and
Oh
they're not
yeah.
really suitable for the guitar pedals. They're just a little too big. Though you could still use them. So if you had enough room, like a cap that has a different voltage rating is not like, it still acts the same as a cap with a lower voltage rating.
Yeah. You could just put it in a bigger box.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
should probably test or like do the conversions on the parts that I have, because I might have all the parts or some of the parts myself. I just, I have to check the conversion. Um, but yeah, I ordered a bunch of parts for I think an overdrive pedal. So
Oh, cool.
um,
Yeah, well, we got to get building those, right? I got mine. All I got to do is drill the box now. So
yeah.
if I get the drill out, I actually could have drilled it today, but I wanted to stop and think about it because I'm going to move these holes around, and if I drill them, I'm fucked if I put them in the wrong spot.
Yeah, it kind of stuck with it.
So I thought, like, before we get the drill out and we do any permanent work, like the markings on here are kind of permanent. I can't change them, but I think they're in the ballpark. It might be it's going to be a little off in a couple spots. Like these will be a little more outboard than the center line for the switches, but I think or I can recover from that.
Hmm.
But then I thought I'd just stop and think about it in case there's something else I haven't thought of yet.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things that I need to determine, since I don't have the mill, uh, is what kind of markings am I going to put on my box? Like I've already got a few pedals that have no markings whatsoever, and it's going to get really confusing. I've already forgotten what some of the controls do on my pedals, so
Oh
uh,
yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I forget too sometimes. Yeah, if you haven't played with something for a while, like, or like I'll mark it with like a Sharpie and then it'll rub
mhm.
off. So you're like, what does that say? I can't read it anymore. What I was using for a long time was this rubber stamps and this ink. It's called Stazon,
Yeah,
Stazon. And it's kind of a permanent ink. It does rub off if you scratch it. You could put a clear coat over it if you really wanted to keep it, but it was super fast and easy. I just got a bunch of rubber stamps and you could just rubber stamp up the box. I got a bunch of stamps that have like letters on them and you can snap them together to form words, you know?
that's very
So,
cool.
yeah, yeah, it was really good. I actually got a lot of good comments on the DIY subreddit, the DIY pedals subreddit. Like people like the rubber stamps. So it was pretty good. My ink pad dried up though, so like I was trying to stamp something the other day and it was kind of dead, you know. So I need a new
So
ink
you need to
pad.
order some more stays on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I had that ink pad for years though, so I got a lot of use out of it. I feel like I could have got more use if I was building more pedals, but I probably did 100 pedals with the ink pad, 50 at least, maybe. I don't know.
It's pretty good.
So yeah, 50 to 100. I don't know. I can't remember how many, but there was a lot of pedals with the ink pad. Yeah, so that was pretty good. So so you're gonna work on your distortion or your
You know,
drive?
I think well, I've got a few things in mind that I wanted to build, but I'm kind of anxious to get that trim shifter going. So I think I'll make a point of getting the parts for that. I also I've got the circuit boards that I got from you, like the Vulcan, and I got a which fuzz is it? I got a fuzz pedal circuit board from you that I'd like to um, put together.
Didn't I give you that honey drive?
You mean the circuit board?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah. You build that one. It sounds really good.
All right.
Yeah. I think that pedal's like a keeper.
Yeah, I also it's like I'd like to have another um, tremolo pedal and a compressor, so I have to look for some circuit boards for those.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That trem shifter is a keeper too. I think that one's really worth playing.
hmm
You could gig that one like, I think it would go with a bunch of the music that you guys are playing. You
Yeah,
might just
yeah,
use the tremolo too without the filter.
right. Yeah,
But,
it's
though
versatile.
maybe a little bit of the filter might sound kind of cool with it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably use that all the time, like in place of uh, my current tremolo, just because it has that versatility.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that thing sounds pretty good. That's why I'm building another one. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Okay.
cool that you're making improvements to it.
Well, I'm not really like improving the thing. I'm just like rearranging like where the switches go. Because I think it's cool to have the filter on a foot switch maybe rather than just a toggle switch. So that way you could turn it on and off with your foot like while you were playing. So that's my small addition. And then I'm just moving the knobs around.
hmm Well, I'm not trying to take anything away from um, the creator. What was his astronaut? Dead astronaut.
Yeah.
Um, it's a really, it's a brilliant pedal, but like if you can add new functionality to a thing like that,
Oh yeah.
personalize it.
Yeah,
It's
it's
always
pretty
good.
good. It's pretty genius. So what else? What are you listening to?
Oh, you know, a lot of the usual stuff. 80s post-punk kind of stuff. Uh, Love and Rockets, Tones on Tail, um, some Bauhaus, Joy Division. The good stuff. And of course, the things that are more um, relevant to my professional band. The kind of rockabilly surf sound. Um,
Nice.
but that's more like that's more of what I'm playing than what I'm listening to.
Yeah, cool.
How about you? You onto any new music?
I was just checking my Bandcamp page to see what I'm following this week. Looks like I was listening to some, what was it? It was all like electronic music. So it was like Maria Tereeva. I guess she's some Russian, like, you know, Euro rack synthesizer person. And then this other person, Lorenzo Seni and Caterina Barbieri.
Hmm.
They just do like Euro rack synth kind of. But so I was listening to that. I was trying to remember too. I speaking of the weird post-punk stuff, there was another one, another band that I'd heard of a couple weeks ago. You made me think of called This Heat.
This Heat.
Yes, yeah. Like go look them up. They were kind of
Okay.
like they're kind of like one of those like influential bands that you never heard of.
Oh, interesting. Are they from the 80s?
Yeah, yeah, probably late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
Yeah, This Heat, right? I was trying to look them up. I have it somewhere. I thought they were on Bandcamp, but maybe they're not.
I love that there's great music from the 70s and 80s that we've not heard. Um, uh, my coworker Riley mentioned this band called Death. That was they were a punk band in the 80s, and they just completely went without notice. But somebody, like maybe a family member, like pulled them out of the archives and listened to it recently, and like I don't know, blogged it or something like that. And you know, sounds like it's pretty good. I haven't listened to it yet, but
Huh. Maybe I'll go look them up.
yeah,
Hopefully they're on Bandcamp.
yeah, maybe they are, or
I'm a
maybe
big
they're on
fan of
YouTube or
Bandcamp.
something.
Yeah. I was poking around a little bit on SoundCloud, so I published some stuff to SoundCloud just for fun. I don't know why, like, I'm trying to like really figure it out, like Bandcamp makes a lot of sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
You just post albums to Bandcamp, you sell albums, people can listen to your albums. SoundCloud doesn't make as much sense to me. It's just kind of like you publish tracks, under your name. I think if you don't have a paid account, there's kind of a limit to how much you can publish per week or per month or something. Um, yeah, I don't know why SoundCloud is maybe not as popular, but then again, I can kind of also see because their interface is a little confusing. Like Bandcamp is just very clear, like what's there and what you can do, and the search function works pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I find like if I'm on SoundCloud and I search, like I don't always find what I'm looking for, even though I know that it's there.
Mm-hmm.
Or I get to a page and it's not really the band, but it's got some of that person's music on it, you know, so they're not quite getting what I'm looking for.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not crazy about having, you know, kind of like the um, inferior option. Like where like some of the material or the one service will have content from different artists, but then they'll also have just like YouTube often does, where people are publishing other people's content under their channel name. Like
Dude,
that's
that
annoying.
really irritates me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you know who else does that is Pinterest.
Yep.
Like Pinterest just thinks they own every picture on the internet. Like you Google something and you're looking for the web page, and you're trying to find it because you'll see maybe you're searching images because you'll see the image of the thing that you're looking for, and then it
Mm-hmm.
takes you to Pinterest. But you know that image belongs to another website, but somehow Pinterest has usurped the search results and moved their you know the image on their service even up to the top of the search. It's really annoying. I don't know how to describe it,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, Pinterest has kind of annoyed me that way too. Yeah, and YouTube does it too, where you're looking up a song and then all of a sudden it's published under someone else's account. It's not like under the band or the owner or some place that makes sense for it to be.
Right. Yeah. I've even noticed that with like news content. Like somebody will take clips from CNN, and it'll be something it seems relevant to your search, or it just seems like it's relevant to you. But when you actually watch it, you realize somebody has posted like last year's news today just because they can monetize. It's like if you put an old clip on and you get 1,000 people to watch it and you're monetized, then you're getting money for ripping other people's
Yeah, it doesn't make
content
any sense to me.
and posting irrelevant content.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's not even relevant to our channel, but I mean, like
But
my
we're just
interests and
annoyed.
stuff.
It just annoys us. Anyway, so okay, so what's your goal? So you're working on your pedal? What's
Working.
the first project this week?
Well, this week I need to get my order in for parts for this Telecaster project that I'm going to build. I need to get
Oh, the
also
black
parts.
one.
Yeah, and I need to get parts for my Strat. But yeah, I plan to also get those parts in for my pedals, and I think I'm going to measure the or see what I have in stock for parts, and maybe I can make something. Um, as well. I also have to finish grounding that Mustang because I have a possible gig coming up.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I think I'm going to work on this on this trem shifter is kind of my big project. And then I'm still trying to do some weird Eurorack synthesizer stuff. I was goofing with that all today, though not successfully. Though I did make some fun sounds, but none of them was really like anything that I thought fit the musical ideas that I was looking for. But we'll see. Got to experiment with that some more.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're doing the work. That's the main thing.
Yeah, cool. Should
Yeah.
we wrap it up?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Um, I think we got through our topic. Um, yeah. Any closing thoughts?
Um, no, not really. Strings are, probably most bang for buck tonal difference you can add,
Yeah. I didn't mention
followed by
this.
pickups.
Yeah. I didn't mention this before, but like the gauge of the pick that you use, or if you use a coin like Billy Gibbons or Brian May, that can have an effect on your tone.
Oh
We
yeah,
didn't talk about amps, but it's like playing through an amp is it's absolutely a different thing than just
yeah,
playing on the couch through a unamplified electric
yeah.
guitar.
I guess like I didn't bring the amp up because that's expensive. I'm figuring people have an amp and a guitar, and then they think they need a new guitar to change their tone.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking like maybe they can just adjust the amp and change their strings, and maybe they could be happier. I don't know. Just a
Yeah, well,
theory.
yeah. I mean, the I think the final thing that I'd like to say in closing about what makes a difference in your tone is in your fingers. How you play, how you attack the guitar, um, how you pick. Um,
Sure, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
How you
those.
play, that you're
Yeah,
playing, yeah,
yeah. So
right.
um, I think really the message should always be play more, and use the gear that you have to get the sound you want.
Oh, for sure,
Play
yeah,
with the knobs, you know,
yeah,
um, play with different picks. Um, don't change out your pickups all the time. Try to, play with the volume and tone knob, and um, change the settings on your amp, and then play softer. Don't clamp down on the neck as hard. Try different things. Try palm muting. There's a lot you can do to find your own kind of signature sound with the gear that you have. Like we all started out in the 80s with like a PV amp and
How
like a
did you know I
cheapest.
had I had a PV amp?
We all had PV amps because they were like affordable and really good.
Yeah, I wish I'd sold it and I got this trainer because I thought I needed a tube amp, and I got this trainer head, and someone gave me like some broken weirdo cabinet, and I just connected it to my amp, and I think I blew the amp up because the impedance wasn't right,
Mm.
you know. But then I always kind of regret that. I was like, I should have just kept that PV, I because it was always solid, it always worked. It was
Yeah, they
just
were
solid
really good.
state. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they were solid state, but like my brother had one that had a really nice spring reverb in it, and
oh, nice.
uh, yeah, it was a great sounding amp.
Yeah, cool.
Not
Okay.
expensive.
Yeah, cool. So is that our closing there?
I think so. I think really, we could go into detail about other experiments that people have tried, but I think if people are watching this channel, they already know about Phil McKnight and Robert Baker and Music is Win and Guns and Guitars and all of that stuff, um, and all of that stuff. Even watching this video is taking time away from playing guitar, unless you're playing guitar right now.
I could be playing guitar right now, man.
You should be playing guitar while you watch this, because there's no backing track on this video to
Yeah, I
distract
hope
you.
I hope you're playing guitar while you're watching this.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, cool. Okay. So we'll call that a wrap.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. We'll be back next week with another exciting topic. Please post your comments in the comment section below, and like and subscribe if you like and you want to see more content like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, we need more content. Okay, cool.